The Grove Podcast.
Hello, my name is Tabs and welcome to episode 161 of the Grove Podcast. Now, thank you for listening. Now, I hope you're all doing very well, that your heart rates are back to normal and you are able to savour yet another win against that despicable clown car excuse of a football club from West London. And that's 3 losses in 3 for Rossignol. So in a matter of just a few weeks too, against us. And as with Tottenham, they can change the manager as much as they like, but London will always be a very bright shade of red. And joining me today to revel in that redness is Moz. How you doing? And you looking forward to 9 more stress-inducing games like that, or are you going to enjoy it?
Definitely want to enjoy it, Tabs. Doing well. My band that I wear on my left wrist yesterday told me I was in the high stress zone from 4:45 until 6:30, so coincided well with the game. But yeah, it's chilled now. You know, I said 2-1. I did say 2-1 before, well, not before the game, but we can get on to that. And so yeah, just as calm as you like.
It's kind of like, now look, I mean, for those fans that keep complaining on the socials that they're not enjoying watching Arsenal this season, well, rest assured, neither are we at the moment. So you're not alone there. And as far as heart rates go, I've done runs that have had a lower heart rate than yesterday's last 10-15 minutes. So I feel
you're an ultra marathon athlete.
It must have been like 2.5 my resting heart rate. It was ridiculous. So but there we go. So anyway, very stress inducing. So there we go. And well, we wouldn't have it any other way, would we? So anyway, in today's pod we'll be looking back at that 2-1 win against Chelsea, one where we love scoring corners so much that we don't care which end we score them in. So we then have a new feature called Relegation Watch. And I'll let you figure what that's all about when we come to it, and then we'll also have a quick look at last Friday's Champions League draw, and then we'll finish with a preview of what will likely be another stressful game against Brighton over Albion on Wednesday evening. Okay, so on to Chelsea. Before we get onto the highlights, lowlights, the lineup pretty much as expected, as we thought, a replica of Spurs had to be really. What did you think? Were you happy with it? Were you expecting any changes or wanted to see something different?
No, I wasn't expecting any changes. I thought potentially would he have brought in, would he have played the lineup against Wolves and played Saka back in the kind of 10, but then I thought, no, you wouldn't do it against a Chelsea. I just thought the only reason why he would consider that was just because of the Cole Palmer influence, and it'd almost be, it would negate that. But then when you think about it, I don't.
You're joking, right? The Cole Palmer influence, Cole Palmer lack of influence.
Well, there is that. But
I know.
That was the only thing that crossed my mind. But when I seen the lineup, yeah, pretty standard. I think the only concern for me was Odegaard, because he obviously came on against Spurs and then he wasn't on the bench at all. There was no question, I don't think, in the post-match press conference as to where he was.
I think I heard 2 rumours. Well, I heard something about him having a knee injury, so that must have been sustained in training. And there was someone else I was chatting with yesterday that said maybe he's had a falling out with Arteta. Don't know, but
I read something about the fact that he can't handle being a new dad, and his wife being Danish, or his wife is Scandinavian or Danish or one of these places anyway.
You're just about to say they're all the same.
They're not. But there was this thing that said his wife is like one of those typical Scandinavian women who expect the husband to do a lot of her.
Oh, is it only Scandinavian women that do that? Okay.
And so
I'll tell my wife.
And so he's been waking up for the night feeds and, you know, looking after.
Doesn't she know who he is? We've got a fucking Premier League to win.
So that was part of concern.
Okay. Yeah, it is a concern, and White was out too, so much for no injury Instagram posts. But yeah, I think he had to go for the same. It was a man management issue as much as anything else, because you know you Gyökeres and Eze put in that performance. Now, granted, it was only Spurs, but still, if you were to take him out, as Wenger used to say, you kill the player, and yeah, so it's fine. Even if the game was always going to be harder, you can't, after that performance, 2 goals apiece. Yeah, you can't really change it. So no surprises really. I don't think anyone expected any different. But that bothered.
I was more surprised at the Chelsea lineup that they gave a debut to Sarr instead of playing Tosin at the back. That was quite surprising. Tosin and Saliba have been their kind of centre backs for most of the season, so that was quite surprising for a big game away from home, giving a debut to someone.
Yeah, I don't even recognise him. I sort of didn't really pay much attention. Where did they get him from, or is he just a young kid?
Yeah. He's I'll find out and I'll let you know, but yeah, I don't think he's anyone of note. I mean, he plays for that mob, doesn't he? So
yeah, who cares? Okay. Yeah, and talking to Chelsea, and Cole Palmer, whatever, was allowed to play the Emirates for once. Not that we really noticed. So, so there we go. Right. So from yesterday's game, what was your highlight and low light from the game?
My highlight was the clip that I'm sure everyone has seen so far on socials last night and this morning of the ball boy. Just being absolutely raging when Saliba kicks the ball away when we score our second goal, because he's obviously going to have to now go into the clock end and fish this out from some random fan who is way too drunk and way too happy to giving a ball back. So there was that as my highlight, and the low light was probably just after the red card, or even after we score, we just seem to do this Arsenal thing where we go into a shell. We did it against Wolves. We did it against your team, Brentford. We just seem to switch off, stop playing. I don't know what it is. And then after the red card, after Neto got sent off, we made hardly any passes, and it felt like Chelsea were the team with 11 men, and we were with 10. We just couldn't get our foot on the ball. Every pass was going astray. So that's what contributed to the nerves. And there was one point, I don't know if you were obviously at the match, I don't know if you've seen Jury and Timber. At one point, it was 1-1, and the fans were getting really restless when I think Saliba had the ball. He didn't really know what to do, and Timber just put his hands to the crowd and just told everyone to calm down. Yeah. So it's affecting the players, and he's obviously come out today and said that as well, hasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, look, the players want this. They're nervous. At least they can do something about it. We've got nowhere other than expressing moans and groans and venting. There's only no way we can get that. But no, I understand that, and I guess it doesn't help. Look, they're professionals. They should be used to it. It doesn't help. You're trying to do your job, and someone's in your ear saying, "For fuck's sake, just do something." It's not easy. But yeah, so no, I understand the sentiment, but I understand our position. Yeah, look, I mean, in terms of I'll quickly do the highlight, and then my low light's the same. Was a couple of highlights. Neto getting sent off, always very funny, especially to Neto, especially because I'm not too sure he must have known he got booked the first time, because literally he was there bouncing the ball and the referee was there. The final whistle, massive highlight. But of all the highlights, that save at the end. I mean, David Raya, what a save! He made a couple of saves, all reachable, but that one is so hard. The ball's from Garnacho curled in. It's not a shot, sort of a cross, just needs a touch to go in. So he's distracted by two players, like Gabriel steaming in and I think Pedro steaming in, and it just bounces and skips off the surface. Do I need to get doorbell music?
Back.
Okay, you're back. Sorry. So it just skips, and he just the save. What a save at that time. And they did a good analysis last night in Match of the Day, and like how he sets himself and how he gets ready for it and how he leaps. So a fantastic save. So massive highlight. And it sort of did bring up the question that he's had a bit of stick this season for maybe a couple of long range shots that he's maybe missed. Like we had the Wolves one potentially. He's looked a bit short on those. But then you contrast that to the amount of agile saves he's had to make, which Donnarumma does not make, and you've got someone big in size. So, swings and roundabouts. So his agility is a benefit, I think, more than potentially some of the long range shots. What do you think?
Yeah, I think the saves that he makes, the goals that he prevents, outweighs the goals that he lets in. And the reason why we're so up in arms because of the goals he lets in is because it doesn't happen that much, and so it's something that we're not used to.
Yeah.
If we were conceding 4 goals a game, like Tottenham Hotspur, for example, then a couple of goals here or there, we're not really going to care if we lose 2-0 because we've been losing 4-0 for the last 6 months of the season. And so it's all relative. I think David Raya has certainly, and even Peter Schmeichel said it after the game on TV. He was being interviewed by him, and he just complimented Raya. And yeah, I mean, you look at the saves that he makes. The one where Garnacho crossed it in, and I'm really sorry to call out Andy for this, but Andy said on WhatsApp that he said, "I have a funny feeling Garnacho is about to do something here." And as soon as he said that, Garnacho almost did. So yeah, just saves like that, that save you 2 points, that get you 2 points. He's made saves like that through the course of the season.
Incredible.
By far the best keeper in world football, I think, at the moment.
He's definitely up there. And in terms of low light, apart from having to watch Chelsea and be in the proximity of that many Chelsea fans and players is always a bit irksome. Rice's potential injury, I don't know if we've had any update. I mean, he always looks perma-knackered, but yeah, and he's not one, but he felt like apparently he asked to go off, so that's, don't know whether it was precautionary, whether they're all like, right, any sign of it precautionary, we're winning 2-1, let's get Norgard on. So I've not really heard anything from that. They're going to assess him as they always do, given that we've got Mansfield at the weekend. But also, I'll be surprised if he plays against Brighton, because it's a very quick turnaround. Yeah. And luckily we got Mansfield at the weekend, so he wasn't going to play that. So he'll be sort of hopefully fit for Leverkusen away, and even then, even if he doesn't play, then it may not be that big a deal. So we'll see. But yeah, like you, I pinpointing like our performance post the red card. I mean, right, Chelsea are used to it. So if there's any team that's going to be good at playing with 10 men, it's Chelsea. But we couldn't manage the game properly, couldn't keep the ball, couldn't make use of the extra man. And like you said on the passes, I think after Neto's red card, we made 55 passes to Chelsea's 114. And from the 85th minute, we made 7 passes to their 53. And that's nuts. And that's just performing under pressure, and thinking clearly under pressure. I mentioned the Clive Woodward teacup thing before on this pod, and it just felt like, you just get in your own head a bit. And Chelsea made it hard for us against 10 men when we played them at their place in the league when Caicedo was sent off. So that just needed someone put their foot in the ball, just calm everything down, just pass it around a bit. And but granted, Chelsea just said, fuck it, we're going to lose 2-1, might as well lose 3-1. So they, it's always a bit hard because what happens is the whole shape plays, they suddenly have 4 up front. So what do you do against that? It's suddenly you're playing in a situation which is very different to what you're used to. And again, maybe with 11 men, it's a bit more structured. You understand the positionings and the roles. But when you're playing 10 men, they're showing 4 men up front, and you're a forward man, do you stick or twist? Do you stay up front and make them think about you? Or they say, right, sorry, we're going to leave you there. So some sympathy with Arsenal, but also, just need to get a handle on that. Saying that, they only had Caicedo's shot in the Caicedo's shot, which went over in the 87th minute. So again, it's one of those ones that feels bad, and there was that one save, but actually wasn't that bad. It's just we're all nervous as hell.
I think it was more so the act of what they were doing to us and the pressure they were putting us under when we should have been controlling that game and going into the corner and slowing the game right down. And we did do it to a certain extent right at the very, very end. Yeah. I just wish we did that 5 minutes before when that disallowed goal went in.
Yeah.
I something, I don't know, how did you feel out of interest when that...
Oh, it was right in front of me. So where I am is looking down the goal line at the North Bank. So I could see clearly he was offside, so I didn't... I didn't react as in, well, that's João Pedro is miles offside. So you're always still a bit. Have I missed a player not coming back or anything on the far side? No, but in essence, no, I wasn't bothered. It said that has to be called offside. So yeah, I'm not Gary Neville. So there we go. Okay, so in terms of the game and statistically, it was actually quite an even game, other than possession. It was sort of like we had 41% possession to 59. It's not very often at home that it's that imbalance. 1.09 xG to us, to their 1.07. 12. We had 12 shots to their 9. We had 5 on target to their 3. We had 2 big chances and they had 3 big chances, but as well as possession, we had 277 accurate passes to their 425. So having looked at it though, and looking at the sort of field tilt and the momentum, even though they did dominate the possession and passing stats, it wasn't putting us under any pressure until towards the end. The majority of it would have been passive in front of us in their own half, trying to play it out. So it's one of those ones that, we've had it before. We've had sterile domination from possession in the past. So it's just one of those things there. But yeah, so not too concerning overall in that statistics. But it was always going to be a close game. So in fact, how did you feel about the game and the result? And can you separate the two? Are you concerned? Any concerns, or you
can't. I mean, you can't really separate. You can separate the performance from the result, but I don't think at this stage of the season it matters if we win 1-0 and we score the luckiest own goal or set piece goal, or if we win 5-0 or 4-0 or 5-0 and we score 5 world class goals. I don't think that matters now at this stage of the season. I think what matters is just grinding out 8 more wins. I think 9
more.
Probably,
9 more. There's 9 games.
Yeah, I know, but I think there's room for a draw against City in there. And the good thing is, everything is in our favour. We don't leave London apart from going to the Etihad. Mm-hmm. We play a lot of games at home. We have a very easy route to the Champions League semi-final on paper. Mm-hmm. Compared to Manchester City anyway, that's for sure. Mm-hmm. We have a relatively decent FA Cup tie, whereas Man City, I believe, play Newcastle.
Away, yep.
Away. So everything is aligning with us. I genuinely think it's going to come down to 3 weeks yesterday when we play in the Cup final. And
the knock-on effect of that.
I just think that's the game that just changes the, if Arsenal play Man City and we win there, then think of the impetus that will give you at the Etihad. But going back to the result, I just think we have to grind out 8 or 9, whatever you want, 9 more wins or 8 more wins in a draw, and just don't. If you're not going to win a game, just don't lose it, because the ground that City will make up if we lose, and then it's over. I think the first team to lose a game, us and City, that's it. It's curtains for them.
I mean, but was there any? I mean, in terms of the game then yesterday, was there any? How did you feel then about how we approached it, how we played in any particular?
It's Chelsea. I think I've seen a lot of discourse this morning on Twitter or X and WhatsApp as well about fans saying about the set pieces, and obviously it's just rage bait accounts that people aren't even Arsenal fans and whatever. But I don't care I don't care at all. It's Chelsea. This isn't they're not a bad team. Yeah. They're obviously, we think they're obviously awful and you hate them, and I was laughing at the immediate response that you wrote on the notes. I very rarely hear you swear, and then you wrote some sweary words. But I think it's when you really think about this is not a team that's in the bottom half of the table. This is not a team who have really bang average players, like, for example, I don't know, like a West Ham or a Forest. This is Chelsea.
Like
Tottenham. But Tottenham have some players that are okay. But this is Chelsea. This is a team who know how to win games. They know how to win major trophies, that kind of thing. And so it's always going to be a tough game. And also, for some reason, they just hate playing against us. And in fact, they love it so much that they make us hate it. So overall, there's nothing to say. I've seen a lot of discourse about, we score from set pieces, we're playing boring football.
I'll get onto that at the end. So in terms of the immediate response, so after the game, I do a little, my immediate thoughts on the game, and to what you said. Yeah, I said, you're right. I don't normally swear on those things, but I thought, so I said, fuck off back to West London, you despicable, dirty clown car excuse of a football club. As for us, did our best not to take advantage of our chances. Shot shy, not quite on it. Unnecessarily nervy ending versus 10 men. But job done. Move on. 9 to go. Thank you, Saliba, Timber, and Raya. And yeah, that sort of my sentiments. I write that down, and then maybe the following day when we do the pod and whatever, maybe think, do I still think that? But yeah, I think it's job done. Another win, another essential 3 points, another game ticked off. And yes, it would be nice if we did all the free-flowing stuff and we looked like champions elect, not just everyone telling us, dispatching teams with ease week in, week out. But it's just not that sort of season for us. And this, as you say, this was not Tottenham. Chelsea were always going to be a tougher team. And they make it hard. They're very gnarly. They're dirty. They're nasty. They, the thing that they're doing, like to Raya blocking him, taking the quick goal kicks and stuff like that. And I think this was going to be a battle won on the margins, and it was. We won it on the margins, and yeah, you're right. I think now the results matter more than anything. So happy for that. As for the performance, I think we played well in the first half. I think we, the only issue is I think we played well. We just missing something in the final third, something with our final pass. Maybe trying to find that perfect opportunity rather than taking the shot. There was a couple of times Eze could just hit it first time. And it maybe in the stadium it looks like that. Maybe on TV you see that there's someone blocking it, the ball's bobbling around. But we just didn't have that final. There was lots of nearly moments, not sort of nearly opportunities like the one with Trossard where he's breaking 4-on-3 and he just couldn't find the right pass. So the attacking fluidity wasn't there. Defensively, I thought we were really good. And Chelsea didn't create much, but it was on the margins. And if we didn't shit the bed in the last 5-10 minutes, it was relatively comfortable, and could you imagine had that gone in? If you thought the reaction after Wolves was bad, God, I would have left the Grove WhatsApp group, and that's never to come back again.
I think I gave a few heart attacks when I said that, because obviously I was watching on my legal stream, and I was ahead of others. I won't mention names, and in the group, I don't know if you've seen it, but when I put in, I think I put like, oh my God, not this, and everyone was raging. But yeah, if that was a goal, I think I wouldn't have even deleted or exited the Grove WhatsApp. I would have just deleted my phone. Just
deleted life.
Yeah.
Yeah, wake me up in 3 months' time when this is all over. So
is that long? It is actually. It's all of March, April, and May. It's still 3 more months of this.
But it's weird, and actually in the next 4 weeks, I think we only play like one more league game, and that's Everton at home, because we've got FA Cup, 2 Champions League. It's we got. Oh, by the way, Brighton's not in London, so we leave London twice. But I get your sentiment. I know it's called London by the Sea, but it's still an hour and a half away. It's the man from Glasgow. So it's like saying Edinburgh is part of Glasgow, or vice versa.
Well, I know, but for someone who lives in Scotland, I mean, anything south of Manchester just class as London. So,
as London. Normally, it's not. Normally, south of the Watford Gap, as they say, is all London. But but there we go. So as far as the game went on, started like so. The first half, we started with a change of ends, which I'm sure LinkedIn Liam got the idea from some middle management away day about mind games or something like that, some sort of training course, and like so. I don't know.
He's been thinking about that all week, hasn't he?
Yeah, we're gonna. That's the one thing. This is gonna be. This is our tactic. Is like got it on the board. All over Cobham. Right, change ends. So just make sure you win the toss. But yeah. So again, as I said, there was lots of nearly stuff happening. A few chances here and there. And it was, and then we take the lead in the 21st minute from our second corner, even though the first one wasn't given, which was, it was quite funny because, when Eze tried that long shot trying to chip Sanchez from miles out, and as I said, I'm looking down the guy like it went miles out, and you could just see the linesman going, oh shit, and he had to run and chase the ball, and he was just so out of position. He still could have given it. but I feel sorry for him. But everyone was giving him pelters. But it was quite funny. But yeah, so we got the corner, and a great delivery as always by Saka. Massive leak by Gabriel at the back post. Saliba heads in, sort of ricochets in. So I actually didn't celebrate because I could not see the Chelsea player. So all I saw was Timber and the ball ricochet in. So I'm going, oh shit, it's come off Timber. He's on the goal line. He's offside. But fortunately, yeah. But another set piece routine, goes our way.
I love how the commentator before that even said, like, look at the position of Gabriel. He was so far back, and Reece James looked like a little scared schoolboy, defending against. He was like the guy in year 4, and Gabriel was in, I don't know what the English school system's like, but year 12, and it just was like men against boys. And what a jump! I mean, we'll talk about this set piece stuff, in a few years' time if we win the league, and it was, they'll be remembered for just the prowess that Gabriel and Saliba have at set pieces, and that's Saliba's first goal in a long time as well.
Yeah, I can't remember when his last one was, but yeah, so fair play. If Gabriel doesn't get you, Saliba will in defence or attack. So good, 1-0. So right, don't do dumb stuff and concede quickly. And I'm sort of counting down the clock, like how long, and in fact, why don't, as a novelty, why not get the second? But again, it was ebbing and flowing a bit. Rice has a shot that goes over. I think so. Balloons it high and wide, and then we also almost have that mad moment when the back pass from Raya from Zubi to Raya. I don't know what he was thinking. Maybe it was on his wrong foot because the switch out pass was there. But yeah, we luckily this time we didn't make the mistake.
He needs to learn how to play on the half turn.
Yeah,
and be able to swivel and go, because that's a few times now that's happened, and it might cost us again.
Well, yeah, hopefully not. And maybe Raya shouldn't be the one giving him the ball. So look, I think it's a bit of both, because Raya can see the player there, so he should be sweeping it out. Yeah, that's anyway. We didn't suffer from it, and then there was a bit of a mad ending. So a couple of corners. So there was one corner where Raya makes a big save. It comes off Rice's shoulder. Raya is being held really, and he still managed to push through everyone to tip it wide. But that all, again, it's take the socials with a pinch of salt. Luckily, Match of the Day picked that up, because, as I said, they did a good piece on Raya, and they picked that up and the way he battled to get through to that. But all the talk is about whether it should have been a penalty because it hit Rice's sort of upper arm or elbow. I mean, I wasn't. If that was a Chelsea player in Arsenal, I'm not looking for a penalty there. It's I'd be more worried about the fact that he's held him and holding him down than that. I know. Did you think it was a penalty? What was the chat on the TV?
I've seen them given, and the what Gary Neville's like. He would love a penalty for Chelsea at that moment.
Yeah,
but it's interesting because the VAR said that both of them were jostling with each other, or there was physical contact on both sides. I don't really think there was. I think Rice was like almost. It was like a straitjacket on his back. So yeah, I don't think you've seen them given, and one very similar was given in the Old Firm derby and for Celtic Rangers, and it wasn't the same phase of play. It wasn't from a corner, it was from a cross, but it was quite similar. So yeah, it's one of those ones where I think it was right to not give it. If it was given and it's against us, we would be annoyed. But if it was given and it was for us, we'd be like, oh yeah,
I would think it's soft. But yeah, they do the usual. The way you judge it is that if that was a Chelsea player that did that, I don't think we'd be looking too much at handball. It's not like he's leading with his arm and stuff like that. Oh. Yeah, because that's what happened actually. I don't know if it was a cup game or the league game where a Chelsea player did that, led with his arm, and they didn't give. And to be honest, if you've got your hands on top of someone else's shoulder, that's quite a natural position for your arm to be in. And the joke is that he's fouling at the same time. But if you're fouling a player but putting your hand, his arm's in a natural position. So what do you expect?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, anyway. But didn't really make any bloody difference, because from the ensuing corner, Reece James, who can take a decent corner himself. Gets flicked on by Hincapié in at the far post. It's one of those ones, if you've got a player at the back post, they should clear it. And sort of very similar to the opening goal in the league game that Chelsea scored, that Saliba scored. And so, Hincapié is doing what he's doing, trying to get to it. I think he's got a slight push, so maybe he got under the ball a little bit. But, 1-1, I don't think deserved. But, shit happens. And
we let them back in. We let them back into the game with that spate of corners. And towards the, I think from like the 40th to the 45th minute, they were getting back into the game. And I said it on Grove, I said it on the group chat, I said we always do this where we let teams like Chelsea think that they have a chance. We did it against them in the League Cup in the first leg. We were all over them and we let them think that they had a chance. So, but is that nerves? Is that nerves from the players?
It's managing the game. Well, I think other teams feel emboldened now. If we go 1-0 up, we used to shut them down. And we're not going to get anything from this because they don't let in any goals. I think it's as a result of recent performances and recent mistakes and letting in goals and just some silly stuff. That aura that we built up has now gone. So people don't fear that so much. So they say, oh, let's just keep trying. Don't have to be perfect. Because if you think about all the goals we've let in, a lot of them don't have to be perfect. They're from mistakes or from we've done or just one in a whatever long range shots that we don't have to sort of try and formulate the most perfect goal and cut them to pieces. Where that we need to maybe try and force an error. Or, hey, let's have a pop shot, and teams now feel emboldened to do that, and we know it, that they know it, and they know that we know, and it's that sort of vicious circle. And whereas before we had that aura about us, and it sort of would put teams off. They'd feel beaten as soon as we go 1-0 up. They're beaten. Whereas now they go, no, that ain't the case anymore. So look, at least it happened before half time. If it's going to happen, great, have a chat. And I think, look, all we need to do is tidy things up a bit, be a bit more secure, take a chance, improve on our quality. Chelsea are there for the taking.
They were. I think there for the taking. However, you could argue that Wolves were there for the taking and we couldn't capitalise on that. And Brentford was more of a different game. I hate the fact that we always say it's a good point, but
no one's saying it's a good point. Well, right. let me correct this. Right. In the context of the league, no, we needed the win. In the context of the game in isolation, we did well to get a point because we could have lost. That's the context. Okay.
But what I'm saying is that we need to, especially against teams like when we play Fulham and Newcastle and maybe even Brighton to a certain extent, we need to, if we score first, we need to be able to capitalise. And if we go 1-0 up, our thinking should be, right, let's not protect and preserve this lead. It should be, let's try and get a second and calm everyone and calm ourselves down as well.
Well, like we did at Tottenham. Get a third, get a second, a third, and fourth. Yeah. So look, you think like
it was also, let's not forget, it was also 1-1.
Yes, yeah. Well, okay. So, this is the thing. So again, Chelsea were there for the taking, and then it was basically Chelsea that seemed to sort of dominate that second half, or have more of the chances. I think Raya in the 50th minute, Raya has to make a nice sharp save from Fernandes. Then there's another shout for a penalty again. He's punching the ball away clearly. The follow through over the top, but he has to be able to do his job. So not a penalty. And then there was that very quickly after another corner. There was João Pedro has a header. He doesn't get much on it, but the goal is gaping. And then again, Raya, it's a comfortable save, but it's just the fact that it's the whole goal was there and the guy's heading it and a bit wider. You never know what happens, but he makes the save. We then take Trossard off, bring Martinelli on, which I think was the right move. There was space in behind. Then there was a couple of things. Did they make much of Chelsea trying to stop us breaking quickly? Like there was even one when we're taking a goal kick from the 6-yard box. and the guy stood like in a free kick, so 2 yards away, like not even getting out of the box. But also then the guys running into Raya trying to. Did they make much of that on the TV?
The second one when I think it was João Pedro that had fouled Martin. Was it Martinelli maybe when he was? Oh no, it wasn't. It was actually I think it would have been because Timber was miles up the pitch and he was almost on a 1-on-1. That's when they mentioned
Right.
that. But the referee stopped it way too early both times, and even for the Neto red card, he stopped it very early.
Yeah.
I mean, you can go back and retrospectively give the player another yellow card if you really want to. I mean, it's happened before. But the referee just seemed to, he was playing the way that, or refereeing the game the way that as soon as something happens, that's it. But yeah, Chelsea were they did that twice, didn't they? Of note that I can remember. The second one was more.
Yeah, Sunderland did it as well. I've noticed it. You saw the referee. He was look. You can see he gives the free kick because he's only looking at the incident. He's not looking. Oh, wait.
What's happening?
What's happening? So that's to me poor refereeing, poor positioning, and stuff like. On the Neto one, I think when it comes to a red card, it's hard to go back to it because what if the player that should be sent off then impacts what happens? So you can. I know he was away and all the rest of it, but it's a tough one to go. I don't know what the rules are in terms of whether if it's going to be a red card, you have to stop it because if they're on the pitch when they shouldn't be on the pitch and they influence what happens, then it's a bit of a grey area there. But anyway, soon afterwards, 62nd minute, we're all yelling timber. Rice delivers another cracking corner. Again, Sanchez gets knocked over by a ghost, and Timber comes in close range header.
Yeah, I don't know what Sanchez was complaining about at all during that. I mean, there was nothing at all. There was obviously you watched it back, and he's lost. He's like he doesn't have a clue where the ball is, where the players are, nothing at all. I don't know why he was mourning it so much to the referee. I think he was mourning about what was happening in front of him rather than what happened to him.
Oh, what do you mean, like when Enzo Fernandez? Like there was one really funny bit. Enzo Fernandez like holding onto Gyökeres, like his arm just hugging him, and the ball goes in, and Enzo Fernandez still hugging Gyökeres, and Gyökeres is just laughing in his face. Can I go and celebrate? Are you going to let me go? It was like it was ridiculous. So. But yeah, and that's the moment. Neto's such a moany, whiny bitch. Like, he goes up and he's up there and he gets his first yellow. I said there's multiple replays of him getting the yellow. So everyone going like, "Oh, I didn't notice he had his yellow." He should know. Yeah, it was very, very clear. And that's also another bit that you get on the socials. That's Rice with 3 assists in 3 games against Chelsea. But he did that thing where he's getting all the dog's abuse. In comes a corner. In comes a goal. Turns around backwards. Gives it all that to the Chelsea fans, and and good on him. Yeah. So good. So 2-1. So again, right, 2-1. Nothing dumb, nothing stupid. And then a couple of silly incidents. Well, there was the one with Rice, does brilliant to cover it, then boots it out for a corner. So you could just see like he was just knackered. It was just like something wasn't right there. And then I think it was from the ensuing corner or something like that. So the Neto red card. And it was so funny. It was so obvious it was going to happen. Martinelli's there against Neto, and Neto just could not help himself. And he's an idiot. In a way, you just let him go and just sort of try and cover into the middle. You don't try and take him out. But I was shouting, let him take you, because as soon as he dives in and doesn't get the ball, that's a yellow all day long. Yeah,
Martinelli did well because he did that. He ran, stopped, and then the third time you think he's just going to run.
Yeah.
But he ran and stopped again, and that's when Neto tackled him. So it was good. I think that was the only thing that Martinelli did of note in the game, to be honest, wasn't it?
But it was a hard game for him to get into. But so red cards. So we go, okay, right, 2-1 up, 10 against 11. We cannot be losing this. Yeah, hold my pint. We make a couple of substitutions again. Rice again. Hopefully injured, but I mean he came off 76 minute, and I think he was making noises like earlier than that. But anyway, came off Norgard. Good to see Norgard come on and Havertz come on. I think Havertz did well. Tried to do a bit more holding out the ball. Tried to do a bit more control. Eze then has a chance around 80. Just it was a bit of a safe shot. It didn't have that bend and curl or power behind it. Sanchez still makes a decent save, but yeah. And then from 87, where Caicedo has the shot through to 96. Yeah, it all goes a bit, squeaky bum time, as Sir Alex Ferguson used to say. Used to saying that we had the Garnacho and Raya save, and then we had the goal that wasn't a goal, and then game over. Thank the Lord. Thank whichever deity you pray to.
We need to, on a different pod, just in the interest of time, we need to speak about Eberechi Eze and have a serious chat about him and see, is it just the first year at Arsenal that you've not, and it's just, it takes a while to sometimes bed into a new football club, especially if you've been at your previous club for so long. I mean, he was at Palace since 2019, 2020 or something, when he moved from QPR. So we need to just see, he does it against Tottenham, and then the same lineup, the same team, and it's just like I don't understand it. It doesn't.
Maybe it's just, and it's a bit like, I think there's a few players going like that at the moment. Trossard as well can be good one week, not so great the other week. I think it was good in parts, good in possession actually yesterday. Just his execution was a bit bad. Eze, this isn't Spurs. You don't have the same time. You don't have the same space. These are better players. You need a better first touch. You take some first time shots, and maybe he's trying to be too secure, too perfect. But you're right. You're saying he's played against these teams. For Palace, I guess maybe there's just a different pressure when you're playing for Arsenal. Different thing, different expectation. I think in Palace there's pressure, but you can play with a bit more freedom, mentally as well as physically, sort of thing. So maybe it's just it's getting used to. He's now, an average fish in a very big pond, where he was a big fish in the small pond type thing. So I think it's more mental, because he's got the skill, he's got the ability. We know we've seen it. So the only thing that's changed is the environment and who he's playing against, how teams play against you. So we'll see. I was going to make the same point about Saka, because still expect and want more from him. He's still a danger, still a threat. But I think yesterday, again, he's not delivering there. And again, maybe this is just after a big injury like he had last season. Maybe the next season is always tough, and then next season it'll be better. But if he's going to be our captain, our star boy, he's got the contract, we need a bit more from him. And then the other player I was going to call out, if we're having a bit of a negativity side of things, with Zubimendi on paper looks like the intensity of the Premiership may be getting to him, and it's sort of like, oh my God, all these games, all this intensity, it's maybe a tired mind. We've had a week off, so maybe not physically, but just a tired mind there. But these are still brilliant players playing at a really high level. But if you just drop 1 or 2%, it's very clear.
I think I agree. I'm just looking just now at the stats as you're talking, and I fully agree with you in what you're saying about Zubimendi and I guess to a certain extent with Saka. But my concern is that it's more the inconsistency that the likes of Trossard is showing, and Gyökeres, for example, yesterday. I mean, Gyökeres and Trossard were the lowest rated, apart from Hincapié, obviously, who scored the own goal, and you lose ratings. And I know, on this pod, I love to use the FOTMob ratings, but Gyökeres, I mean, he didn't really do much at all. He, I'm just seeing here, so he no shots, one blocked shot, nothing, 27 touches, 7 in the opponent's box, no successful dribbles, and that's what he's known for. That's his bread and butter. So yeah, just really, really struggling to see. Again, I think it comes down to, like Eze, like I say, Tabs, it's first season, you don't really judge a player, and it's only in the second season when they've had a full, I guess we won't even get a full pre-season because of the World Cup, but you get a full season under the belt. and then you start to learn how you play with your players and whatnot, and then you go from there. So, yeah, a slight concern, but at this stage of the season, there's no point in even discussing that sort of stuff, is there? Because they've been doing well.
Yeah, exactly. Again, you can't knock our position, and the back five. Okay, they weren't. I put here immense, but in a way that it's not that they're unbeatable, but just again the likes of Incapio and Timber, I think had really, really, really good games. Okay, the own goal, near post flick on, it's just I think just one of those things, But Saliba, I think had a great game. Gabriel was doing Gabriel things. I said the goal isn't down to any structural deficiencies in the defence. Maybe again a bit more calmness in the last 15 minutes, like Gabriel launching it when he could just be playing it around. But in general, the back five, so including Raya there, I think it was a day for them to take the plaudits, and they won us the game up front and in defence. So look, we're now unbeaten in the last 11 against Chelsea. So and so here onto the whole corner thing. So this is the 9th time this season we've scored a match-winning goal from a corner, which is the most in the Premier League since Man United in 2012-13. We've got 16 goals from corners, which is currently the joint most in a single campaign, up there with Oldham in 92-93 and West Brom in 16-17. So what exalted company to be with, but we're likely to be that now. Online, there's been a whole. It's boring, but I feel like I have to mention it again. And here's the hypocrisy of this. Complete within 24 hours on the BBC, you've got 2 headlines for articles. New set piece kings Liverpool can still achieve something beautiful when they scored 3 set piece goals against West Ham, 5-2 win against West Ham. Ugly or beautiful, set pieces proved decisive for Arsenal after we scored 2 set pieces. Like, fuck off! It's like,
I mean, it's not just us that's doing it. Chelsea also scored from a set piece. Liverpool, as you say, they score 3, but this is exactly what they want. The BBC, the Guardian, the Times, the Telegraph, every single one of these people that are writing about Arsenal and set pieces is wanting the clicks and the rage bait, and then you go on live and then you engage with them on Twitter and they get paid because of it. So they're getting paid at our expense because we're going on to defend ourselves and we're giving them engagement and clicks and views, and that's all it is. I could go on line tabs and write, Tabs is a fake Italian. You drink his cappuccinos after 12 o'clock and you would come on and defend yourself. And of course you would. I would get paid for saying that, even though it's not true.
The most ridiculous thing you said there was drinking cappuccino after 12 o'clock.
But do you know what I mean, though? It's like,
I know.
You want online. And so I know a lot of people in the Grove, and I guess this is my little 2 cents into this conversation. So many people in the Grove were mentioning it. I read this stuff, I look it up on my phone, and I just think, so what? Let them. Let them talk about Arsenal.
No, Robin's it. Let them.
Yeah, look at the table. We're top of the league. Look how many open play goals we've scored this season. We're second in open play goals. So Man City have got 57 goals, 36 open play. We've got 58 goals, 29 open play. That's second in the league, tied with Man United. You know. Yeah, so it's like, I know I hate disingenuous bad faith stuff. That's what I don't like. So yeah, you say clickbaity, because like Crystal Palace have scored 30 goals, 15 set pieces, so 50% of their goals are set pieces. Newcastle, 49% of their goals are set pieces. Leeds 46, Chelsea 39, Arsenal 38. Yeah, and Liverpool is 28%. So it's like, the thing that gets me, and this is the weirdest thing, and then we'll move on. It's like, so people want to go back to the days when corners were a bit irrelevant and people didn't score from corners and they're a bit of a non-entity. Is a bit rubbish and just sort of like no expectation? Is that so basically the opposite of where we are now, where we're really good at maximizing a functional part of the game, is to no, why can't corners be like they were in the past when you only scored 1 in X amount of games? That bit doesn't make sense. That bit, if you go to someone, so is that what you want? And as for the grappling and pushing, they all do it, so I'm not having that bullshit either. Yeah, I agree. It's I just don't let it get to me, Tabs.
Yeah, I'm trying not to. I'm trying not to, but I've got a microphone, so there we go. Right. Anyway, look, I'll do the 3-word reviews as a separate thing on my own. So we'll skip those, but I'll chuck them in later. So a couple of things down to the Premier League table, and it's taken us 49 minutes to mention this. So happy belated St. Trotteringham's Day to you, sir.
Yep, happy St. Tots Day. Do you know what? It's funny because it's not even a big deal because it happens that often. But it's just nice when it does happen because Tottenham fans hate it. They hate it. And they bring up that 2 seasons when they finished above us, and then and they bring up the European Cup online, and then that's when I start to get a little bit riled up and start to engage. Because, anyone can win a European Cup playing against Wi-Fi passwords.
Yes.
So, yeah.
So, and it's the earliest ever. So the 1st of March, I think the previous record was the 9th of March back in 2008.
Yeah.
So the earliest ever. And so as a byproduct of that, we are now 5 points, back to 5 points clear at the top. We've got 4+4 goal difference on City. Okay, they got the game in hand. You know that, yada, yada, yada. Man United are sneakily somehow on 51 points, and they've moved above Villa. So Villa, Emery's going full Emery, and they've gone ahead of Liverpool. And the thing now, Chelsea are out of the Champions League places on 45. So, when they play City at home, they're going to have to need to beat them because Brentford are on 43, just behind them. So actually, we're doing ourselves favours by making Chelsea have to beat City. Just keep winning. Just keep winning, and it's ours. And with that, this new feature that I'm adding to the pod, relegation watch. Certain Tottenham Hotspur.
we need to be careful with relegation watch because of title winning watch could be a thing on a Tottenham podcast.
I genuinely do not think Tottenham will go down, because I think Nottingham Forest and West Ham would just not have enough to go past them. However, it's still fun to laugh at, and so on. 2 things can be true. Even I know it will lessen it, and the quintuple would be amazing with Tottenham going down. But let's have a bit of fun with it. If you can't watch football, have some fun with it, because because the other stuff is so stressful. This is like light relief. So they're on 16th place with 29 points. Forest on 27, West Ham on 25. They lost 2-1 to Fulham yesterday, thanks to a goal that last week would have been chalked off, and an Iwobi stunner. So good old Arsenal boys. But this was the best part of it. Igor Tudor, the silver member Igor Tudor, after saying Arsenal are the best team in the world last week, he said Tottenham, it's sort of like a mixture of the Tin Man and the Lion from the Wizard of Oz. Tottenham lacking in attack, midfield, defence and brain, says Igor Tudor.
That's brilliant. And do you know what else? I don't know if you've seen this, as I posted it on the group yesterday.
Yeah.
Tottenham Hotspur remaining Premier League fixtures and the corresponding, did they win or lose last season? Crystal Palace, they lost. Liverpool, they lost. Forest, they lost. Sunderland obviously weren't in the league. Brighton, they lost. Wolves, they lost. Villa, they lost. Leeds weren't in the league. Chelsea, they lost. And then Everton, they won. So they could technically lose 8 of their next, 11 games or whatever it is they have remaining, or 10 games, and get relegated. And
and yet they're playing Atletico Madrid in the Champions League.
Yeah, I will be here. That could, could you imagine that if you're in the final of the Champions League, but you're in the Championship?
They won't be. It's fine. They won't be. So it's very funny. And Igor Tudor also went to say, we're always late on everything. That's the problem. Okay, right. So
West Ham at Forest. You never know. Know.
Well, Tottenham, whilst we're in a cup final, Tottenham will be playing Nottingham Forest. Okay, granted, it's at the Toilet Bowl. But that's a 6-pointer. Relegation. Tottenham are in a relegation 6-pointer.
Yeah, because if Forest win that, they obviously go above. They would go above Tottenham.
Pending other results.
West Ham just need to pick up a couple of wins, and what better to start for the next 2 Premier League games against Fulham and Man City.
It's funny. So let's enjoy this while we can. Anyway, that was a quick thing, and some final thoughts on the Champions League draw. I mean, it's as favourable as you could get, really, avoiding the likes of PSG, Madrid, Bayern, plus the English clubs, Liverpool, City, and Chelsea. So,
who was the other option apart from Barcelona in our thing that we could have got?
I can't remember. I thought it was either. I can't remember. I didn't go as far as looking back at that one. I'm just looking forward. I'm looking forward to actually the fact that, could you imagine, we could actually go, you know, I'm talking way ahead. I'm getting way ahead of myself here, but we could actually go invincible in the Champions League. Could you imagine that? If we won the Champions League, be invincibles in the Champions League. That would be. I
don't think that. Surely that's only happened a couple of times in history.
I don't think it's happened ever, because in the old. Well, I don't know, but in terms of the new format, you know, won every game didn't lose a single game. We won every game in the group stage, and if we get through to the final, the chances are that we're winning or drawing along the way. Anyway, just something to mull on. But the big thing here is that the impact on the Premier League that this will have. If we can do well in our first legs, make the second legs easier, it gives us a bit of a break. We after every Champions League game, we're at home as well, which is really good.
That helps a lot.
But for one night only or 2 nights only, we're going to be City fans, because we need them to get past Real Madrid. Because if they get past Real Madrid, there'll be a period where is it? I've got it here. That they would play Chelsea away, Bayern. They would go. Where is it? They'll go Bayern Munich at home, Chelsea away, Bayern Munich away, and then it's the City Arsenal game. Whereas we'd be getting through Leverkusen, Sporting Lisbon at home before the Man City game, or Bodo Glimt, hopefully Sporting Lisbon. So everyone's thinking about now, March, about City dropping points. I don't think so, because the next league game, got Brighton, we got Everton, and then it's cup final. So. But it's April. It's around that period. If they get past Real Madrid, that's where we could potentially pull away.
I love coming on this podcast because it really gets me excited, and then I start thinking about things, and then we end up going to Brighton and lose 3-0, and then everything's rubbish again. So I then scheduled to come back on the podcast, and by the time I come back on, then we've won about 7 games in a row, and we're about to win the league again. So.
Exactly. Well, I've penciled us in to draw against Brighton, so we can draw against Brighton and still win the league. So it's fine. It's fine, because and some, you know, even I think Jamie had us drawing against Chelsea. So, but yeah, it's that period there. So we do need City to get through against Real Madrid, and if they play Bayern, if they get through Bayern, whatever, it's still going to be bloody hard games versus our, you know, Sporting Lisbon. Okay, we got to get past Leverkusen first.
Yeah,
but yeah, that point there could be interesting, and then we'll worry about the rest there afterwards. So
Tabs, I think this is a Grove podcast first, but I need to love and leave everyone, and this is, you know, it's I take it everyone knows it's the month of Ramadan just now, and so if you don't eat by a certain time, I mean, yeah, I don't want to just, all I'm saying is I don't want God to not like me for any reason, because I'm praying for Arsenal to win the league. And so if I'm late in opening my fast and whatnot, then, you know, he might say, well, Man City are winning it this season. So
yeah. So you think your adherence to Ramadan is the only thing God's worried about?
That's the only thing standing between us.
Nothing else in your personal life that should be of concern.
That's the only thing standing between us and the quad is doing this.
Okay. Well. On that note, that's really important. Thank you. I will finish off with the 3-word reviews and the preview of Brighton. But Moz, thank you for joining. Go on.
Looking forward to for Brighton. My looking forward to Brighton is that it's one more game closer to Mansfield away, which I've managed to get a ticket for, so I will be there. And then the not looking forward to is the fact that it's Brighton, and for some reason Brighton scares me, because I was there at the Emirates for the 2-1 when we lost. I was in, and it was just one of those games where I thought everything was fine, everything was going to go well, and so Brighton always give me that scare.
Yeah. And they've got that toss of a manager. What's his name?
Fabian Hertzler.
Excellent.
He's not bad. He's
Yeah,
not bad.
he's a twit. He's a fucking prick.
And my prediction for the game is 2-1 Arsenal, because I said it last week or yesterday and it came in, so I'll stick.
All right, 2-1 to the Gunners. All right.
Thank you for having me.
All right, cheers. Thank you.
Bye.
Appreciate it. Okay, so thank you, Moz, for joining us, joining me today, and go and enjoy some grub. Okay, so on to the 3-word reviews of Arsenal 2, Scummy Clowns 1. Starting off on TikTok, we had Annette with Chelsea didn't score. No, they didn't. As I said, we love scoring corners so much that we'll even do it for you. The Norfolk Treasure Hunter said, don't stop believing. We're trying. Whizzer, set piece again, indeed. And then Deformed Bounty Hunter, not quite 3 words, a bit more, but I'll take it. Happy St. Totteringham's Day. So thank you to you on TikTok. Okay, on to Blue Sky. We had Hans Lejeune with Lucto e Emergo, which I believe is Latin for suffer and rise, or suffer and emerge. So we definitely did do that, Hans, and thank you for raising that. And I think we might have to say that a few more times for the rest of the season. Or Gunaten, thank fuck Chelsea. Yep, indeed. And then Sid Silk was a bit more jokey. We won. Next. Okay, we did win, and next is Brighton, which we'll get to in a moment. Okay, now on to X. We had Dubs for Sam, who had the pleasure of meeting. Unfortunately, we didn't get a chance to have a drink, but said hello. So hello, Dubs. And he loves corners, so he said, I love corners, indeed. And Rob Horton from at Boring FC, consecutive derby wins. They were indeed, and we have the pleasure of having quite a few of those, and actually, in fact, Chelsea and Tottenham, if we could play you every week, it'd be quite handy. Okay, then on to threads. We had Yen Han 10 with high blood pressure. Yeah, I think as me and Moz talked about at the beginning, that was stress-inducing. Stick of the 6. The Corner Classico. Yeah, very good. Wolf 303 Co, making reference to our next 9 games. 9 more palpitations. Yeah. 31 November. Severe heart attack. I hear you. Paul C. Giltusa, London is red. It is very red, especially after not only was it North London where you made red, but we're practically making the whole of London red. Nicky Guna 06 is feeling us all nervy running. It will be. Danny Mast, man after my own heart. Fuck off, Chelsea. Robin Hood 78, beaten red card, 1 word FC. We did, and more to come, please, Chelsea. Arse Cannon Picks, heart attack inducing. Yeah, it definitely was. 51 Envisage. Holy shit, guys. Yeah, what are they doing? What are they doing indeed? Okay, the Johnny Man, Raya, Timber, Saliba. Yeah, they were the match winners. Gick Dryson, leaning on Spanish, is Ay Dios mío. Yeah, oh my God, indeed. Who else? Shush Con 49, I'm still alive. We're all just. Paul Latham Dignity 18. I quite like this one. Squeaky Ass Time. So yeah, indeed. And Sam 13 draws with his. He sent me a picture. Set piece again. Olay, one of his stickers. So yeah, set piece again. Punt. Collapse. Nearly Wolves repeated. It was. Cranny Tran Cran, yeah, got it done. We did. Garth Harding 82, edge of wheelchair. Yeah, that might have got you out of your chair. Had they equalised. Slaughter by name, La Corner Classico, another one of those. And even though this isn't 3 words, he sent me a nice picture. Creasy Tim, London is red, bitches. Yeah. Tapu Walex, why always us? It feels like that. DTTNG CBB, Clown Clark Club. Chelsea definitely are. And Wishful Expat, finally it's over. Yeah, I think we all appreciated the final whistle. So thank you for you on threads for sending those through. Okay, and then finally on to the Grove WhatsApp chat group. We had Moz with Across the Line, Alistair 9 to go, Tom, Again, a bit of all of us here. We're shitting myself. Noel Mickaday is I still believe. Yeah, we all do. Manny with earlier St. Totteringham's. Yes, it was, as we said earlier. And Delete set piece again. And Matt Stacey and Mads coming in with David fucking Raya, an absolute clutch Raya. And there we go. And Andy Leach again, fucking get in. And Alex Munro wants to die. Where Normie needs to get his beta blockers. So beta blockers, please. And yeah, so I think they all pretty much sum up the game and our sentiments around the game quite well indeed. So thank you for sending those in, and apologies if I got your handle and name wrong. I'm doing my best. Right. Brighton, Wednesday, 9:30 UK time. Chris Kavanagh, our friend and yours, is the referee. Another big game against a team that a lot of Arsenal fans dislike, Welbeck aside, of course, and a widely hated manager. And in fact, I'm more worried about this game than I was about the Chelsea game. What I'm looking forward to, I like watching football, another game of football. Let's hope we can, another 3 points, keep our lead over City. They're playing Forest at home, so we're not going to get any favours from them. I really cannot see anything other than that. It's just a case of matching the points tally. Hopefully we can keep the goal difference the same, if not improve it. So let's see. What I'm not looking forward to, as I said, it's Brighton. Always seems to be tricky games against them, and so it's just a case of what Arsenal's going to turn up at the moment. We could go there and just do a Tottenham, or we could do a Chelsea, or we could do a Wolves. At the moment, no one's really too sure. So yeah, just we need to go there and win. And in terms of how we will approach this, in terms of how the lineup is, there's fitness doubts around White, around Odegaard, and around Rice. We play Mansfield away in the cup at the weekend, so that will be a fully rotated team. So it's a chance for squad players, secondary players to get some minutes. So you could maybe take some risk with the players here, because players are going to get rotated. But it's a hard one to call. I think the back five will be Raya, Timber, Saliba, Big G, and Hincapié. I think Zubimendi starts, especially if Rice isn't there, and or Odegaard. So you could be Zubimendi, Norgard. Do you go with Havertz? Do you go with Eza? Do you give Eza 3 games? Do you go with Havertz? Or do you put Havertz up top and rest up Gyökeres? So it's a tricky one. And then you got Saka. I'd say Martinelli over Trossard. But then I think you have to have Hazard. So I'd go Zubimendi if Rice isn't fit, Norgard and Eza. And then you go Saka, Havertz, Martinelli. That's what I would suggest that we do. As for Brighton, since we played them late December, they've played 10, won 3, drew 4, lost 3, scored 12 against 19. So yeah, they're just very average at the moment. Like a lot of mid-table clubs, home form's better than away form, but nothing special. They went through a period from December to February, winning 1 Premier League game out of 13, and only that one was against Burnley. But they were on a little bit of a run. They beat hard to beat Brentford away 2-0, and that just goes to show that Premiership's a bit nuts sometimes in terms of how teams face up to each other, how they can be very different from one game to the next. And then they beat Forest at home at the weekend 2-1 in a bit of a crazy game, I think, where all the goals went like in the first 20 minutes. Their home form, played 14, won 6, drew 6, lost 2, scored 22 against 15. Yeah, about right. Again, as I said, a bit average, but away from home, played 14, won 3, drew 4, lost 7 against 16, 4-20. So obviously their home form's a lot better. They're in 11th on 37 points, plus 3 goal difference. Yeah, overall, won 9, drew 10, lost 9. So yeah, the most middling of middle clubs. Other results of note, okay, they got that great late draw against City at the Etihad, but they lost at home to Brighton. They drew at home to Everton. They've lost to Villa, lost to Fulham. But as I said, their last 2 games have been pretty good. So scoring 4 and only letting in 1. So it's yeah, they have some some dangerous players. They can play 3-4-2-1 or 4-2-3-1. I think the last game they played 4-2-3-1, but when they played us, they played with back three. So it'll be interesting to see how they line up. They can be difficult opponents. They play possession football, structured, patient build up from the back, pass and move. They invite the press and then try to be fast on the counter. They have got dangerous forwards, wide men like Mitoma, Minter, Gomez, Rutter, so they can score. They can be a threat. Maybe not the most mobile at the back with Dunk and Van Hecke, and they're still relying on a 35-year-old in Welbeck's Renaissance as a goal scorer. So, yeah, as I said, not the most perfect club, not the best, not the worst. As I said, they do try and press high and aggressively. They've got a lot of energy. They try and create turnovers, but nothing that we haven't seen or experienced before. They play aggressive, high line, so there's potentially space behind and vulnerable to fast transition. So that's maybe why this time I'd maybe play Nelly over Trossard, but then Havertz would have to play up front. They don't really have any major concerns. Maybe Yassin Ayara, who's been a good player, one of the higher rated players this season. So that's the only one major one. Adam Webster's knee injury and Stefanos Tsitsipas, he's got cruciates, he's out for a while. So it's hard to know what to expect from them, but it won't be easy, I do not think. And in terms of our matchups, our head-to-head in the last 10, and this was it in the last how many games? Since October 2021, we played in the Premier League 9 times. We've won 4, we've drawn 3, lost 2. So even though they may not beat us that often, they have taken points of us, or they've beaten at critical times. We played a couple of League Cup games, won 1, lost 1. Last season, we drew 1-1 at the Amex when they got that very dodgy penalty, when Saliba headed the ball away and accidentally caught João Pedro. It was where Waneri got a great little goal, but unfortunately I think had to come off at half time. Earlier this season, it was when we were in our infancy of making comfy games hard. Rice had to deputise at right back. We missed plenty of chances to win comfortably. Raya had to make that stunning save from Minter to keep it 2-1. So as I said, they're always tricky opponents. We won that 2-1 with a goal from Odegaard and an own goal from Rutter. And then Gomez scored in the 64th minute. So again, that propensity to letting goals not long after we've scored was starting there. Yeah, again, we should have put away. We didn't. So again, familiar sounding. We did also beat them in the EFL Cup earlier in the season, but in October. But yeah, that doesn't really count for much. The relevance, both heavily rotated, so I wouldn't think too much of that. So yeah, but we have to get 3 points. I don't think there's any more. We can't really fail. 1 point in our predictions, I said. So again, it's not the end of the world. But 3 points here would be really handy before we sort of go into a couple of games in Europe in the FA Cup. So I'm predicting 2-1, just like Moz. Yeah, and it could be another stressful finish. So let's see. I will take it as long as we get the 3 points, and I'm sure all Arsenal fans would. So there we go. Okay, so thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks so much for joining me. Happy belated St. Totteringham's Day to all you Arsenal fans. Look, you can follow us on Threads, Blue Sky, Instagram, TikTok. We've got our YouTube channel, and we're on the various podcast apps. So you can find us at The Grove AFC. Give us a follow, give us a like, give us a 5-star rating, give us a comment. We do notice and we do appreciate it. It helps spread the word. The next show will be Hot Off the Pitch, live instant reaction post Brighton over Albion pod. So keep an eye out for that on the socials. And there we go. So North London is absolutely red, having beaten quite easily Tottenham and less easily Chelsea. But we're definitely owning London as of now, and for quite some time, I'd imagine. And there we go. So thank you for listening, and until the next time, come on you Gunners.